Look, I remember a video. Oh, stupid.
But a day with a knife. 2 years later,
Fucking San Francisco.
Brett, coming up to where the two to send his last letter in 1974, where he claims to have killed 37 people and bizarrely reviews his viewing of The Exorcist, which he called, quote, the best satirical comedy that I have ever seen, end quote.
What? This guy...
Can't imagine why he felt the need to write a Rotten Tomatoes review in his last letter, but...
He had no friends. The only people he could talk to were the press and the police.
Do you think he would be a frequent Yelper today if he were still alive?
Oh, he'd definitely be a fucking one-star Yelper.
Skipping forward, in 2002, the San Francisco Police Department was able to extract a partial genetic profile from a Zodiac letter from the saliva on the stamp. The profile was not enough to conclusively identify a single person, but enough to eliminate potential suspects. And with that, let's take a look at the suspects with the most circumstantial evidence against them. The first theory is from Gary Stewart, who believes that his father, Earl Van Best Jr., was the Zodiac killer. Gary Stewart published a book called The Most Dangerous Animal of All that presents this theory. Earl Van Best Jr. bears an uncanny resemblance to the composite sketch from the Paul Stein killing. His name also matches the number of characters in the My Name Is cipher. Finally, Stewart says a handwriting expert is virtually certain that Best's handwriting on his marriage license matches the writing of the Zodiac killer. Now, here are reasons why Best may not be the Zodiac. According to an administrator at the church where Best's marriage certificate came from, the handwriting is that of the priest and not Best himself, making the match that was virtually certain implicate the priest rather than Best.
Where do you even go to get your handwriting, like, certification skills? Probably from the fucking University of Phoenix.
Oh shit! What did the University of Phoenix do to you?
They're like a for-profit college.
Furthermore, Best only matches the description of the Zodiac at the Paul Stein killing, but not the heavy-set, large-faced description of the Zodiac in the previous 3 killings. Gary Stewart also tried to test his father's DNA against the recovered 2002 Zodiac DNA, but investigators never complied, with the reason being not enough evidence to make a case. Gary Stewart has maintained this is a police cover-up.
Number one, why do they say there was not enough evidence to comply?
Yeah, why not just test it against the DNA, though?
Yeah, does it, like, cost money, or, like, what's the reason not?
Maybe that DNA lab is super popping, like they just have no time for theoretical tests. The second and most famous theory is from Robert Graysmith, who believes that Arthur Lee Allen is the Zodiac killer. This theory is the basis for the 2007 film The Zodiac, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as Robert Graysmith.
Who is that? Internet sleuth? Like us?
He's definitely more credentials than us.
Okay. He has a card.
Actually, Robert Graysmith was a political cartoonist at the San Francisco Chronicle that became obsessed with finding the Zodiac. After a decade of personal research, Graysmith wrote 2 books entitled Zodiac and Zodiac Unmasked that heavily implicate Arthur Lee Allen as the Zodiac. Here's Graysmith's case for Arthur Lee Allen. The day of the 3rd Zodiac attack at Lake Berryessa in 1969, Allen told his family he was going scuba diving at Lake Berryessa. Later that evening, he would come home covered in blood with a bloody knife in his car. And if you'll recall, the Zodiac murdered Cecilia Shepard that day with a knife. 2 years later, in 1971, one of Ellen's friends, Don Chaney, said that Ellen called himself the Zodiac before the killer publicly referred to himself as the Zodiac.
Wait. So, he literally called himself the Zodiac? Hey, Ryan, call me the Zodiac from now on.
How do you even work that into a conversation?
Right?
And the only time I can think of is when you go bowling and you write your name up on, like, the frames, like, write your name as the Zodiac.
Right.
And your friends be like, who the fuck wrote their name as the Zodiac? Could you imagine if he's, like, super douchey about it, too? Like, he won't respond unless you call him Zodiac. You'd be like, Arthur, you want to go out? And he'd be like, that's not my name. Yeah. Zodiac. Okay, Zodiac, do you want to go out? Okay. Cheney also said Ellen told him he was planning to hunt people with a gun and a flashlight tied to him.
What? You tell your friend that?
I know.
He just laughs. I was like, oh, Zodiac. You're such a funny guy.
You're such a trickster.
Yeah.
As a result of this information, the police would interview Ellen a second time, where Ellen would say his favorite book is The Most Dangerous Game, a book about a man who hunted humans, and a book referenced by the Zodiac in his first letter to the press. To add insult to injury, Ellen was also wearing a Zodiac brand watch, which contained the same symbol the killer used. The police searched Ellen's trailer home, where they found small dissected animals in a freezer, bloody knives, and sexual devices, but no direct evidence of the murders.
It's a weird thing to keep in your freezer. Cut up animals and sexual devices.
Oh, no. The sexual devices weren't in the freezer. That would be weird. No one wants a frosty dildo inserted into them. In 1974, Allen was convicted of child molestation, a crime for which he spent 3 years in jail. Coincidentally, during this time, no Zodiac letters were received. In 1987, a San Jose jail inmate named Ralph Spinelli told police Allen admitted to him that he murdered Paul Stein. In August 1991, Vallejo detective George Bauer interviews Mike Lajoe, the man who survived the second Zodiac attack and saw the Zodiac without his mask on. When shown a lineup of photographs, Lajoe picked out the man who shot him. It was Arthur Lee Allen.
What?
With this info, the police search Allen's home again, and this time they find formulas for bombs, constructed bombs, and tapes about the Zodiac killer. They interview Allen again, and he says he knows nothing.
Wait. They found bombs, or plans for bombs, in his house, and they're not able to detain him?
The Zodiac put diamonds of the bombs in his fucking letters.
Right, and he talked about putting bombs on a children's school bus, and this guy molested a kid,
and there's a fucking tapes about the Zodiac killer. This guy reliving his greatest hits at home, the audiobook.
and he just said, what, plead the fifth at this point? You said?
1 year later, in August 1992, Allen is found at home, dead from a suspected heart attack. And with that, let's transition into reasons why Allen may not be the Zodiac killer. Allen's DNA was compared against the 2002 DNA extracted from stamp saliva on a Zodiac letter. It was not a match. However, it's also believed that Allen had a habit for letting others lick his stamps instead of him, which would explain why the profile didn't match him.
But I don't even like thinking that this guy was smart enough to think that.
In my opinion, that's the Olympic level stretch. Additionally, in 1971, the police took Allen's fingerprints, but the prints did not match the bloody prints recovered from the Paul Stein crime scene. They also had Allen undergo handwriting analysis, but the handwriting did not match the Zodiac either. Allen also does not look like the sketch from the Paul Stein killing in the slightest, but it's worth mentioning that Arthur Lee Allen was considered the prime suspect for the Zodiac for most involved police departments, and is widely believed to be the Zodiac. The third theory is from retired Escalon, California police officer Harvey Hines, who believes Lawrence K., more commonly known by the surname Kane, was the Zodiac killer. Kane was involved in a car accident in 1962, which resulted in brain damage influencing his behavior. One psychologist claimed Kane was, quote, losing the ability to control self-gratification, end quote. Additionally, Kane can be seen in the Zodiac's My Name Is cipher, and in that cipher there are 3 8s with circles around them. 3 times 8 is 24, and Kane was born in 1924.
Okay, that means nothing to me.
Yeah, I didn't think you would fuck that way.
Well, I mean, it's just like reaching at straws at that point.
Yeah. Additionally, the Zodiac's second victim, Darlene Farron, had a sister who said Kane was the man who followed and harassed Darlene in the weeks leading up to Darlene's murder. In the 1969 Paul Stein murder, the man suspected to be the Zodiac, seen by Officer Don Falk, was described as 35 to 45 years old. Kane was 45 in 1969. Officer Don Falk said in 1987 that of the hundreds of pictures over the past 20 years he had been shown, Kane was, quote, the closest of them as he remembered the killer, end quote. Kane also lived a 6-minute walk away from Mason and Geary, the location where cab driver Paul Stein was thought to have picked up his killer. In fact, an excerpt from Vallejo PD states, quote, investigation has placed K in the locales where several of the Zodiac's victims either lived or were killed, end quote. To piggyback on that sentiment, in 1970, Kane moved to South Lake Tahoe, and that year, a possible Zodiac victim that I didn't discuss earlier named Donna Lass disappears in South Lake Tahoe. Donna Lass also coincidentally worked at the same South Lake Tahoe hotel as Kane.
That's crazy.
But the last and arguably most damning evidence against Kane is about another Zodiac interaction I haven't discussed yet. On the night of March 22nd, 1970, on Highway 132 near Patterson, California, Kathleen Johns and her baby were tricked into riding in the Zodiac's car. After entering the car, the Zodiac told Johns that he was going to kill her and throw her baby out after her. As the Zodiac was about to make a turn, Johns jumped out of the car and ran into a nearby field with her baby and escaped. Despite some believing this is an unconfirmed Zodiac encounter, others believe a letter confirms this incident. Quote, so I now have a little list, starting with the woman plus her baby that I gave a rather interesting ride, end quote. The reason I bring this encounter up is because Kathleen Johns, unlike most surviving Zodiac victims, had extended FaceTime with the Zodiac. This is important because when shown a lineup of photographs, Kathleen Johns was reportedly able to pick out the man who tried to kill her. It was Lawrence Kane.
I mean, that's some pretty strong evidence.
But now let's look at evidence that proves Kane isn't the Zodiac. I couldn't find any instance of a DNA test against the recovered 2002 sample, nor could I find a record of Kane's fingerprint being tested against the fingerprint found at the Paul Stein crime scene. Furthermore, Kane's handwriting was not a match to the Zodiac's, but also could not be ruled out. Additionally, Kane, much like Earl Van Ness Jr., matches the description of the killer at the Paul Stein murder scene, but does not match the large, heavy-set description of the Zodiac in the first 3 crime scenes. Now that you've heard all the stories, who do you think did it?
I think those two at the end are the most plausible, but I think the real answer would have to be there was one person and then a copycat as well.
It's possible, in my mind, Arthur Lee Allen was the killer for the first 3, stopped, and then Lawrence Kane took over as a copycat.
Oh, well then yeah.
It seems like to me he wanted to get caught. He was like asking to get caught almost.
He was playing that line. He was tired with like, oh, I've killed someone and gotten away with it. He's like, how far can I push it? That line.
That's true. Yeah. Regardless, the case remains unsolved. And probably will stay unsolved, unfortunately. Trying to find this crime scene. No idea where the hell we're going right now. Fuck. Do you keep getting hit by spiky things in your socks?
No. Calling all people.
Seriously, dude, let's fucking just clap a little bit louder. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, did you see that fucking shadow?
No, there's no shadow.
Doc, for sure you heard that. Fuck you, you heard that for sure, right? This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we covered the mysterious disappearance of the Solder children. You look enthralled. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we discussed the famous case of D.B. Cooper, a case that the FBI is referred to as one of the great This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we covered the thrilling escape from the famed Alcatraz prison. The inmates who pulled this off did so by executing an ingenious and daring plan, and who doesn't love a good prison break, right?
I do. Will there be tunnels?
You could say there was a tunnel. I guess if you were sitting in a cell for a long time, you...
Yo, what's up? I guess I'm against you. Last game I got 4 goals. Trying to get 4 goals again, I guess. I have like 40 something points in like 11 games. So I guess I'm pretty good. Can you guys please not kick me? When did I kick you guys? Are you guys gonna buy NHL 19 soon? Are you guys gonna buy NHL 19 soon? You're never gonna. Oh, okay. Well, did you know that Amy made a club?
I know.
Same here. I'm already in a club.
Okay, looks like I'm not joining yours.
But when you make your, if ever you guys make a club, I'll join your club. Unless you're gonna join the club that I'm already in.
Hell no.
It's not my club that I made though. It's one of the clubs my friend made.
Who do you want the leader? You get the me.
I don't care. I mean, do you want me again?
Well, Jersey's in the room was and horns.
So you want me to do it?
Yeah. And hockey goalie and I are gonna be cold. I'm first though, I bet, because hockey's trash.
I made Hockey Rage quit a couple of days ago.
surprised. That happens every day. You know that, right?
I know it does. I make him rage quit every time I play with him. Cause we were doing 1v1s and I was just wrecking him in 1v1s and he just rage quit.
What do you mean your ass? You didn't wreck people.
I 1v1 him in Fortnite and I was freaking wrecking him and then he rage quit.
You were wrecking him?
That sounds kind of wrong. Actually, like NHL 3 is the worst game mode.
Yeah, I'm playing online in NHL 3 so you can play online. I'm a freaking sniper in NHL 3s. I have like 40 plus points in 11 games.
That's garbage.
But some games I was not even playing. I was just AFK.
Sure.
Like 4 games. There was 4 of those games that I was AFK. Oh, let's go, them angles. Oh, what does the period have to end? I'm not a tryhard.
Yeah, then why are you like screaming at yourself? Like, oh my
I'm not
God,
screaming,
oh
just because my
God,
mic spread it was really high.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, get freaking wrecked.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh, what a save by the goalie, dude. Cool. Oh, the keeper sucks. What? My goalie is trash. Yeah, that's a fucking penalty shot. Kirkham's on a fucking breakaway, pretty much.
Says the one who let in the goal from the other end.
Why would he go for a freaking one-hand tuck? Oh my God, why is the goalie so trash? He can't even make a save!
So you couldn't...
Yes, I can!
From the other end.
I got a shut, every time I play goalie I get a shutout. I play like 6-7 games of goalie and anytime my team. Oh, let's go! Let's freaking go! Let's go! He scores! Game is tied, bitches!
Okay, hockey. Yo, when he joins our club, he's gonna be our first goalie, and if he doesn't get a shutout, I'll break up.
No, dude. Shit. I get a shutout pretty much every game, okay? And I bet you when I play with you, I won't get a shutout. I bet you.
Every game?
Every time I play with you guys, I do horrible.
Why? Because
And every time, if I play goalie without you guys, I do amazing. But if I'm playing with you guys goalie,
No, you
I
don't,
do.
dude.
Oh my God, that's a fucking penalty.
Why don't you record it then? Why don't you record it?
I do horrible when I'm recording.
Sure.
This one time I got 6 kills in the game. And it was like 30 people left. I start recording. I'm against a noob that sucks and I die right and I die against him.
6 people while playing hockey. Damn. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. There's no way that's not a penalty. He clearly tripped me. But whatever. Oh, I mean penalty shot because it's 3s. Oh my God! How did my teammate not score on that?
Hey, wait, who was a better goalie, me or you last year? Skinners.
Last year, Jacob, probably you. I mean, it depends.
You let in a goal from the other side of the
At a
ice.
certain time, it was me, but at the beginning of the year, it was me, and near the end of the year, it was you.
No, near halfway in the end of the year, it was him.
Yeah, by the beginning of the year, it was me.
You know what's kind of sad? He got the game first, and he got the game first, and I was still kind of.
Cause I don't play goalie usually in NHL games.
No, not even goalie, a player.
Yeah, maybe because that was my first ever hockey game on PS4.
No, it wasn't, dude. You had the game before. You just had the game.
And on PS3, I didn't even have online. I couldn't play online in NHL. So it was my first ever hockey game that I played online.
So?
So you could have been practicing all this time too.
On my first online game.
Yeah, because it was. You freaking moron.
Because it was what?
Wow, that's a fucking brutal. If that was a normal game, that would be a penalty shot. That penalty, not a penalty shot, but whatever. What do you mean?
Hey, bet. Hey, no one. Bet. If I get the game bet, what do you think is gonna be better?
Well, here's the thing. You might be worse because you haven't played in a while.
So have I. Apart from a couple days of NHL 19.
So, NHL 19! You were playing NHL 18 last
No, I wasn't.
week.
I haven't played NHL 18 in freaking 4 months.
Wait, but no, but here's the thing too. I remember I played the beta and I made some actually good saves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually kind of am.
I didn't really play that much of goalie yet. I played a couple games.
What do you mean you haven't played that much of goalie? You just said I've been playing goalie a lot and I got a shutout.
I said I played like 4 games of goalie and I got
You said you
shutouts
had
and all.
7 shutouts. What do you mean?
I said 4, you dipwit. You can't hear shit. I said 3 you dickhead.
You said you had, didn't he say he had 7 shutouts?
Well,
Yeah.
I meant 4, okay?
Sure.
Shut up, Nolan! Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Dude, I know I'm doing that because you hate me. Shut the fuck up! Jesus! You don't shut the... Fuck you. Can you please stop, Nolan? Like, seriously?
Hockey goalie!
Would have come up with pretty cool things to
I know,
the things that they
buddy.
I was impressed by. But I'm easily.
Logan.
Well, I guess tell them.
Fuck no.
Formerly a military base, Alcatraz Island is a federal maximum security prison in 1934. The prison was nicknamed The Rock due to the fact that the prison sits on a
My life was
Video
a summer
because
in
he
San
doesn't know
Francisco.
anything.
Not me.
Okay. I thought you were gonna go into your typical
I
Midwestern
know it's not you.
people know winter and cold.
Midwestern people do know. I'll tell you.
Oh Jesus
I'll
Christ.
tell you.
Okay, no, it's fine. We don't have to go into
We
it.
know snow.
I'm very happy for you. What a feather in all your caps. So, shall we move on?
If you must.
Great. As time went on, the prison would fall into disrepair, and the budget to fix things was limited. This would become an important factor in the inmates' escape. So So without further ado, let's meet the escape crew. First up, we have the Anglin brothers, John William Anglin and his younger brother Clarence Anglin. Both in their early 30s were serving time for robbing a bank together.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, that's a big bonding. I wonder if one of them got the letter like, oh, where are you going? And I was like, going to Alcatraz. And he was like, me too!
They just jump up and they got accepted to college together. Next we have Frank Morris, in his mid-30s at the time of the escape, who had been abandoned as a young child, put in foster care and run away, and was then in and out of prisons since he was just 13 years old. He was also serving time for a bank robbery. The final member of the crew is Elliot West, age 33 at the time of the escape. West began serving time by the age of 14 and bounced around various federal prisons. Our crew of escapees established. Let's jump into the inception of the escape. It's said that West first approached Morris with a plan to escape in early 1960. West apparently knew of a ventilator cover above cell block B that might not be sealed over with concrete, as some of the other vents had been. If true, this could provide them with a way to get onto the roof of the prison from the inside. West also began working with the cell house maintenance crew, which gave him insight into the building's structure, layout, and weaknesses. By September 1961, the Anglin brothers, Morris, and West all had requested moves to cells that were close to each other in cell block B, directly under the unsecured vent cover. All cell moves were approved.
This goes back to my thinking that prison, maybe back then, or maybe in this particular prison, didn't seem so bad. You just put in a request, and they're like, oh, you want to move?
Yeah, I mean,
You want to be with your pals?
yeah, there's a...
Sure.
I mean, the thought is like, this is...
They should have just asked to leave.
I think this is maybe a lesson in humility for this prison, the prison guards and the prison warden.
Yeah.
Obviously, this prison has been thought of as this fortress of security. It's thought of as unescapable. It's surrounded by water.
Oh,
What's
so
the
there's
worst?
an element of hubris
Yeah,
here.
well, yeah. What's the worst they're gonna do? Do what you want. It doesn't matter because you're never gonna escape. In terms of who planned what, the details are a bit murky. But one thing is for sure. The plan that the four men would execute was undoubtedly bold and ingenious. That being said, let's break down the plan, starting with phase 1, deception. With Alcatraz, it wasn't just about escaping the prison walls, as it was also bringing it back to the mainland and avoiding capture in that process. In order to prevent that, the men knew they needed a head start. To accomplish this, the men created painted dummy heads made from a plaster-like mix of soap, concrete, and other materials, and complete with human hair. They laid the heads in their beds to fool the guards. Sure enough, on June 12th, on the morning following the escape, when the 7 a.m. bell went off to wake the prisoners, guards discovered that the escapees appeared to still be asleep in their beds. It wasn't until one guard reached into Morris's cell and pushed the head, only for it to roll away and strike the ground, that the guards realized something was wrong. To this day, the dummy head that struck the ground still has the damage that resulted from this fall. It's unknown who came up with the idea to create dummy heads. However, Clarence worked as a barber and had access to human hair trimmings. Either way, phase 1 deception was a success.
If I were that guard, and I reached into that bed, oh, wake up, sir. You're missing, or something, you know, his head rolls out.
Yeah.
First I'd scream. I'd go, ah!
I don't know my own strength. I just
And then I'd just stand there and go, oh. They did it.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good.
I would be angry if the craftsmanship weren't so good.
It's very
But
good.
if I pick it up and I see the human hair, I'm thinking, well, they really pulled out all the stops here. I am not a fool.
This brings us to phase 2, breakout. After laying the dummies in their beds, the men went to work on busting out of their cells. All 4 of the men's cells had 5-inch by 9.5-inch ventilation grates in the back of their cells. Perhaps due to his time on maintenance, West may have known that the wall surrounding the grate was less than 6 inches thick, making it possible for each man to expand the hole in their cell to fit through. For months, each of the escapees had drilled small, closely spaced holes around the cover of the ventilation grids. For this, they used crude handmade tools, like spoons stolen from the kitchen, and a drill made from a vacuum cleaner motor. These holes made it possible for them to remove the entire small section of the wall around the air vents, which they then kept covered up with their musical instruments and with big covers made of cardboard. I'm also not that handy, so retrofitting a vacuum motor and turning it into a drill.
Allô?
Allô, c'est toi qui as appelé?
Maman, papa? T'as-tu appelé maman? C'est papa qui a appelé.
Ah oui, bon. Écoute, juste un message, je ne comprends rien.
Viens ici, papa! Qu'est-ce que tu voulais? C'est-tu toi qui as appelé tout à l'heure? Je sais pas si tu t'avais appelé tout à l'heure.
Non, je sais pas.
Non?
Ah non.
Ok, bye.
Ah, moi, on n'est pas dans l'école demain, là, hein?
Oui, je le sais.
Ah, et vous avez juste savoir si j'avais appelé, non, j'ai pas appelé, moi. Comment tu fais aujourd'hui, là? Allô?
Je fais le bain, pourquoi je fais le pas bien?
Ben, l'autre jour, tu disais pas.
Ça, c'était 2 journées passées.
Ouais, c'est ça. Tu peux pas te prendre ta douche, par exemple. Oui, en fin de semaine?
Oui.
Ouais, ben, tu t'apprends à tous les jours. On fait de ta faute. On dit de quoi, t'as pensé? Tu après jouer à ton jeu, là?
Ouais.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, moi?
Je train de jouer au hockey.
Ah, c'est vrai, qu'est-ce que tu fais?
Là, je vous ai dit que je vais au hockey.
Non, mais c'est sur ton PlayStation, ça?
Oui. Ok, bye.
Ok, bye. Bye.
Je te laisse, bye. I'll take advantage of the rookie. Spikes, but it's so for say good night. Come on, guys, we got this. Guys, we got this. We can win this, guys. We just gotta play our game. We gotta believe, and we gotta score this one goal, and then make sure that they don't score, or score some more goals after that. Come on, guys, you serious right now? Please don't leave, dude. Like, please don't leave. Come on, why did you have to leave, you fucking moron? Gosh, I better give you the completion bonus because I didn't leave. My teammates left. Okay. Still gave me the completion bonus, which is good.
be able to think of that.
I don't know. So they're essentially just perforating it.
Yeah, they're priming it by making little holes. They're making the wall a little bit weaker so that they could just. And then you just. It's like this is.
They should have just asked to leave.
They're priming it by making little holes. They're making the wall a little bit weak. The heads in their beds.
So its head rolls out.
Cleaner motor. Covers made of cardboard. I'm also not that handy, so retrofitting a vacuum motor, turning it into a drill, I don't know if I'd be able to think of that.
I don't know. So they're essentially just perforating it.
Yeah, they're priming it by making little holes. They're making the wall a little bit weaker so that they could just push through this wall.
And this is out of view of the.
So it's not out of view, but this prison allowed an hour called I guess it was called happy hour, where the inmates would.
It's margaritas.
No one gets margaritas, but the inmates who played musical instruments were allowed to play their instruments during this hour.
What is this prison? Everybody talks. Oh, the Rock. You don't want to go to the Rock.
That's true. Sounds like
the happy hour at the Rock is only 3 times a day.
It sounds like the prison from Paddington 2.
Don't forget your loot.
Yeah, under the cover of all this shitty music playing, they were probably able to do some drilling. These holes allowed them to crawl through to a utility corridor located directly behind their cells that was typically left unguarded. From there, they were able to climb up to a hidden landing area directly above their cell block, where they had been working in secret for several months. Some or all of the escapees had been given permission at some point to do maintenance work on this landing area. In fact, to this day, you can still see where West actually completed part of the painting job. Apparently, West had even convinced the guards to allow him to hang blankets that concealed his work because it was sending dust cascading down to the ground level. In reality, he was actually using blankets to hide the work that was really being done up there. This concealed landing area became the escapees' secret workshop. They even built and used a primitive periscope to take turns as lookout. In the workshop, they were able to build the aforementioned dummies, tools, and other items they'd use to escape. It's worth noting that on the night of the escape,
A quoi tu regardes, Minette?
landing spot,
À quoi qu'elle regarde?
unable to break through the last portion of the wall around his ventilation grates.
Elle a arrêté, là.
West was left behind. From the landing, the ceiling was about 30 feet directly overhead, and the men were able to climb to the ceiling via the pipes and reach an air vent that they had previously pried off in preparation for their escape. Experts believe that a sound reportedly heard around 10:30 p.m. was the sound of the air vent cover being pushed off on the roof, and this marks the approximate time the escapees would have reached the roof. They then climbed down from the roof via a pipe next to the back of their cell block, climbed the 15-foot fence, and made their way to the north shore of the island. Which brings us to the next phase. Phase 3, escaping the island. In their workshop, the inmates had built life preservers and a 6x14-foot rubber raft, all made from prison-issue raincoats. They'd gathered over 50 raincoats for the job, possibly stitching them together using sewing machines in the clothing or glove shops. They even vulcanized the rubber raincoats by holding the seams up to the heat from the steam pipes, an idea they'd gotten from a popular mechanics issue. The raft was inflated using a converted musical instrument, a concertina, ordered by Morris back in April.
Do you think every day for 50 days they just kept going, lost my raincoat again?
I mean, there was a
49th time in a row.
There was a lot of raincoats.
I guess, yeah.
And I guess they weren't keeping inventory of them. I'm guessing that they got
Clearly
a
not.
fair amount of poop on them. They're like, all right, throw that in the trash. And they were just walking by and taking it. What are they? Oh, I guess in the workshop.
You know what I find with government employees, they're always thrilled to waste the money.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, that's on the government's dime. So if you're a prisoner and you're like, I lost a raincoat, they're probably like, yeah, hey, have more. I don't care. It's not mine. That's coming from Uncle Sam's pocket.
You're not taking from the guard's personal stash of raincoats.
Yeah.
Oh, but 50 does seem like an inordinate amount to gather.
Organize them. The steamy pipes.
Out of a popular mechanics issue.
I love it.
The plan was to sail across San Francisco Bay in their raft to Angel Island, about 2 miles north of Alcatraz Island. From there, they would sail again, this time across Raccoon Strait, about a half-mile wide. which would then bring them to the mainland. There, they would steal a car, as well as clothing, according to West, who would later inform the FBI about a good deal of the plan. Once the men were discovered missing, Alcatraz went into lockdown as a search began. Guards quickly found the secret workshop, the hole in the ceiling, and footprints on the roof and at the bottom of the pipe they climbed down. The FBI joined the case, as would the Coast Guard and Bureau of Prison Authorities, in what would be a wide-scale search. However, the escapees, as well as their raft, were never seen again. Even though we know the 3 men made it off of Alcatraz Island, what happened to the 3 men after that remains a mystery. That being said, let's get into the theories, of which there are only 2. That the men escaped and survived, or that they perished in the journey over to the mainland. Let's start with the latter. The bay's waters are known for being frigid, and there is a strong current that could have worked against the escapees. Experts point out that the trio's goal of taking the raft north to Angel Island would have been extremely difficult at this time, especially given that they had paddles but no rudder. Additionally, results of a reenactment of the escape carried out by Dutch scientists in a piece for PBS, in which they built a raft similar to the one the escapees used, found that 2 of the men would have to work to keep the raft inflated, leaving only 1 to paddle. The weather would have been about 47 degrees Fahrenheit when the men made it outside the prison. The water is said to have been 54 degrees Fahrenheit. If the raft had sunk or the men had gone overboard into the water, they would probably have only lasted 2 hours before starting to lose consciousness, according to author Jolene Babiak.
I tell you what, you ever looked out into the waters in that bay?
I've looked out to the waters at night in the ocean. It's scary.
But that bay in particular,
I
don't
can't
like the look of it.
The ocean is scary in the daytime.
It's scary enough, but that bay is scarier than the ocean.
I can't speak to that.
It's rocky and it's cold.
The only time I've ever looked at that bay has been in a very fun context. I was watching a group of seals fight each other.
Oh, that's fun.
And it was really fun. They were slapping each other away, and then one of them fell off. And
But imagine that if you're trying to escape and a seal hops up on your boat, starts slapping you like, you know?
Yeah,
Not ideal.
I don't think that's ideal. It'd be cute, but it'd be like, come on, man, gotta escape. Very funny. Meet you back on the shore. We'll do this again sometime.
Yeah.
On June 12th, bits of wood resembling a handmade paddle were found in the water near Angel Island. The pieces were identified as belonging to the escapees. On June 14th, bags made from raincoats were found halfway between Alcatraz and Angel Island. These bags contained irrefutable evidence that they had belonged to the escapees. Photos of the Anglins and their family, 9 pieces of paper with a list of people to contact on the outside, and a letter written to Clarence Anglin. Many point to these personal items as evidence that the journey was ill-fated, as these would have not been items easily given up. On June 15th, a homemade life vest was found floating near Cronkite Beach. A second life vest was discovered on June 22nd, no more than 100 yards from the eastern coast of Alcatraz Island. Its ties were still knotted. All 3 of the men would have set out with very little money, so the fact that the hordes of authorities on the case never found a shred of evidence of any thefts or holdups tied to Morris or the Anglins for food, clothing, or transportation made it seem unlikely that they made it to the mainland alive. The FBI states that they never found any credible evidence, either in the U.S. or abroad, that the men lived. In mid-July 1962, about 6 weeks after the escape, a Norwegian shipping freighter, the SS Norefell, spotted a body in the ocean about 20 miles away from the Golden Gate Bridge. However, they did not call in the sighting and did not report it until fall, when they returned to San Francisco, and the body was never recovered.
Look, it's a dead guy.
Oh well.
I guess if it's a freighter, I mean, one, you should report it, but if it's a freighter, I can't imagine they could really stop.
Look, I get not...
Also, you know, time is money.
Yeah, sure, I get not stopping, but...
Call it in.
Call. Like, hey, I think I saw a dead body. And because the body was never recovered, we can't tell if it's one of these. Yeah. So, you know, shit happens in the sea, I guess. Though, there is plenty of credence to our second theory, that the escapees survived. Lawrence and the Anglin brothers had a raft to help them navigate the waters, which many people have successfully been able to swim before without the benefit of a raft or life jackets. A triathlon is held each year in which participants complete a 1.5 mile swim in the same waters around the same time of year that the escape occurred. Participants do say that the current, choppy waters, and wind are major factors to contend with. but according to Jeff Harp, a security analyst for CBS San Francisco, who worked with the FBI for over 20 years and goes for swims in the San Francisco Bay, he doesn't know of any contestants in the triathlon who haven't been able to complete the swim. Furthermore, most of the bodies of those who drowned in the bay will float after a few days, but despite extensive searches, the fugitives' bodies were never found. U.S. Marshal Michael Dyke has run a simulation with help from the Coast Guard that determined the escapees could have survived in the water for 2.5 hours at least if the raft plan failed. The same Dutch scientists who carried out the reenactment of the escape also created a computer model, which they presented in 2014, that could recreate the conditions in the water on the night of the escape. The model found that there was a very narrow window between 11:30 p.m. and midnight, during which the trio would have needed to launch their raft in order to have a chance of making it to land. And since the inmates may have made it to the roof by 10:30 p.m., this window seems possible. Though, even then, they would have had to let the currents carry them to Horseshoe Bay, northeast of the Golden Gate Bridge, rather than trying to reach Angel Island. The model also suggested that items left at the shoreline near Horseshoe Bay would drift back towards Angel Island, where some of the escapees' items were recovered once the tides reversed. And while the Dutch scientists' real-life recreation of the escape did not work, as they were unable to withstand the currents and bring the raft to land, they still got fairly close to Golden Gate Bridge in a little over an hour aboard the raft. One of the scientists conceded he still believes the escapees might have been able to pull it off given the rush of adrenaline and need to survive. Also, one thing I'm going to point out here, I don't know how accurate this test is. If you have scientists doing the paddling themselves in the boat
with those fucking Poindexters.
I feel like maybe have some guys who are a little closer to dudes who are escaping.
Yeah.
I guess I am generalizing that scientists are meek
Oh my god.
individuals, but I'm just saying that if these are inmates, hardened criminals that are trying to survive, I don't know if this is the best people for the job.
I guess scientists could go to the gym, right?
I suppose.
Yeah, well, Chris Pratt in the Jurassic World film.
He's not a scientist. He's
I thought
also
he
a
was.
fictional character. But
His name is Owen Grady. Whoa there, Blue.
oh jeez.
Everybody loves Blue, a great character.
David Whitner, the nephew of the Anglin brothers, has said that his Uncle Robert, one of John and Clarence's older brothers, confessed on his deathbed to his sisters, quote, that they didn't have to worry about their brothers, that he had been in touch with them and they were okay, end quote. Whitner added that his grandmother, who would have been John and Clarence Anglin's mother, would sometimes receive roses with her son's signatures on the card following the 1962 escape. Multiple family members of John and Clarence Anglin have claimed over the years at family funerals that they have noticed mysterious women wearing veils and or heavy makeup, which could have been the undercover Anglin brothers coming to pay their respects. In 2015, a History Channel show claimed that a photo taken of two men in Brazil 13 years after the escape depicted brothers John and Clarence Anglin alive. The photograph came from Fred Brizzi, a childhood friend of the Anglin brothers, who turned it over to the family sometime in the 1990s.
Yo, what's up? Okay. Hopefully I get to play with my new jersey that I just got. Shit, I can't play with my I can't play with my Canadian jersey. Fuck this game, I can't play with my... me, dude. I really want to use my new jersey I just got. Fuck you. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. I got you inside, take advantage of your booties. I would need the left, dude. The left was open. The left was like freaking wide open. But whatever. Yo, quarantine, why aren't you talking, bro? Come on, talk, my dude. Did you like mute me or something? I could have a hat trick, but I have like 2 goals. I don't know if I have a hat trick or not. Maybe I do. I want to see my stats because I know I have pretty good stats, but I don't know exactly how good they are. Okay. What's up? What? Okay, time to see my stats.
Dude, there's a new
This is a new skin?
No, there's a new dance and it's so garbage.
How much G-Bucks?
It costs 500. Dude, it's so bad. Who would even buy that?
How much is it?
500.
Okay, I have enough to buy it, but
Don't buy it, dude. It's so garbage.
I want to see this emote.
Okay, we'll go ahead because it's pretty
I'm gonna check on
garbage.
Fortnite Cracker.
It's called Hitchhiker.
Just look at the picture, but oh,
called Hitchhiker.
I can already tell it sucks.
How do you know?
Just by seeing the picture of it, I can tell it sucks.
Oh, well, check the whole thing out and you'll say, oh, that's so worse.
I have 64 points in 18 games. That is not, do you think that's trash?
I thought you were going with Fortnite.
I'm gonna, but 64 points in 18 games, is that trash?
Yeah.
And 3.6 point per game, is that trash?
Yeah.
Well, that's not what I have, that's what this kid has. I have 5.3 points per game.
5.3 points a game. That does not make any sense. Get on freaking Fortnite and look at Hitchhiker.
Okay, but do you want to play Fortnite with me?
Only if you look at the thing.
If you play Fortnite with me, if I go into Fortnite, will you play with me? I kinda don't believe you, but sure.